Hi friends, welcome back to the channel where we focus less on trying and more on being the best version of ourselves. If you're new, welcome. I'm Aisha. On this channel, we talk about conscious manifestation, reality creation, deciding to have the things you want. If you're interested in one-on-one help with that, everything you need to know is in the description box below. Lastly, if you're looking for affirmation tracks, guided meditation, hypnosis, breath work, EFT tapping, ASMR, soundscapes, literally everything under the sun, check out the Aura app. I use it every single day and it has helped me so much. It's an awesome manifestation and spirituality tool, and there is so much content on there to explore. Like literally you will never run out of things to find. Just search it up, look for what you want. If you click the link below, you can start your 7-day free trial, and if you love it, you can sign up with that link for 25% off of your subscription. Big thanks to Aura for partnering with me to bring you guys this awesome service. I am an Aura affiliate, so if you use that link, I do benefit from it, but you also benefit from using this amazing app. So just give it a try, no commitment, try it for 7 days free, and if you don't like it, it is what it is, but I absolutely love it. It's not a lie, I use it every single day. This is a side note, but I use a language learning app that has a streak, and always, especially with something that is to better yourself, like learning a new language or doing meditation or cultivating a gratitude practice, it kind of gamifies it, but for your good. Like seeing that streak go up every single day and your dedication and your commitment to doing it every day and taking that time for yourself is so fun. So try Aura, start your streak, and benefit from the tons of amazing tracks that they have on there. Again, thank you, Aura. And with all that being said, let's get started with today's video. So for the longest time, when I started consciously manifesting, I thought it was just about sheer willpower. If you can just control your thoughts, if you could just keep persisting, you will eventually get what you want. No matter what, just keep affirming. Just keep reminding yourself who you are. Just keep saying it over and over again, even if it doesn't feel right. Even if you don't know what you're doing, even if it feels like a lie, just keep going. Just keep saying it over and over again. Eventually, it's gonna work. Just repetition, 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 repetition. So instead of finding ways to release resistance around what I want or my desire or my manifestation, I was under the impression that you should just use brute force. Just no matter what, just keep deciding to have what you want. And still to this day, I say that no matter what, still keep choosing to have what it is you want. But it was not an empowered choosing that I was doing. It wasn't just, oh, I get to decide who I am, and I know why I get to decide, and I know why I get to choose, and I understand manifestation. It was just, if you keep affirming, you will get what you want. Manifestation equals affirming. That's all I knew. Just keep repeating it over and over again. That is the way. Doesn't matter how you feel, doesn't matter what the 3D is showing you, just keep affirming. And I say this because I feel like this is where a lot of people started and where a lot of people still are. And I just want to make you aware that there is an alternative path that feels a lot better, but stick with me here. This was the impression that I got from manifestation, that you can control your reality, you can do anything that you want, you are in control, you are the operant power, but you're coming from this place of maybe struggling or suffering or at least lacking or not feeling fully fulfilled with what you have, and you're wanting something, right? And it wasn't made clear that the way to getting what you want is to feel like you already have what you want. It is to continue to struggle, to continue to suffer through doing a technique that maybe doesn't even feel that good, and the technique is what is going to make you feel better. So it was reliance on the technique in order to get something, instead of relying on knowing who I am, being able to decide, knowing why I get to decide, understanding the fundamentals and the very basics of manifestation, which is that in order to get what you want, you have to change your beliefs about who you are and what you get to have. Once your belief system matches the version of you having what you want, then you get to have that thing. Now, I can't deny that if you repeat the same thing over and over again, if you just continue with the repetition, you will eventually get what you want. It's true. Repetition does work. It's undeniable. Everybody knows this. This is why robotic affirmations work. This is why doing stats over and over again every single night and being consistent with it will get you your manifestation. And we also know this because we do it all the time with negative attention. You continue to focus on the things that you don't want over and over again, and you continue to see patterns and cycles of those negative circumstances happening over and over again. You continue to repeat the same shitty thoughts, and you continue to recreate the same shitty circumstances, right? We are relentlessly attached to the old story, so we keep recreating the same undesired experience. So obviously, yes, you need to reverse engineer or do the opposite of what you've been doing in order to get the opposite outcome. So obviously, directing your thoughts to what you want to see more of is going to lead you to seeing more of what you want to see. But I believe there is a difference between persistence and insistence. I've spoken about this before, but like Reverend Ike says, I am purposefully redundant because it's not about arguing semantics. It's about understanding what the implication is of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and what that indicates about what state of being you're in. Because in order to change your beliefs, you have to be a new version of yourself that has those different beliefs, that sees things from a different perspective, in order to allow yourself to have the experience that you actually want to have. So if you're having an experience of insisting on a certain outcome, of affirming and affirming and affirming, or using technique after technique and hopping from one to the other because things are not working or you're not getting the desired outcome, firstly, there you are putting your power in the technique, in what's going on outside, in the circumstances, instead of putting that power back in yourself where it actually has been the whole entire time. But also, you're implying that there is something that you still don't have, something that you're lacking, which is oppositional to you being in the state of the wish fulfilled. Persistence is, once I've made my choice, there is no one and nothing that can convince me otherwise. It goes along with conviction. I am 100% certain that this is my choice, this is my desire. I'm not going to be swayed by what's happening in the 3D. I'm not going to be swayed by limiting beliefs from other people, limiting beliefs from myself, what happened in the past, what other people are telling me is possible, what makes logical sense. I'm going to persist because I've decided that no matter what, this is my choice, so this is the outcome that I'm going to continue to put my focus and attention on. I'm going to continue to do the things that I need to do in order to shift my state into the awareness of being the person who already has what I want. I'm going to remain there and saturate myself there. And if I'm doing a technique, it's because I am thinking from having the thing and not thinking of having the thing like it's something far away, like I'm lacking it, like I don't already have it, and what I'm doing is something that I'm dependent on in order to get this outcome. But I am remaining faithful to my choice. I am persisting and remaining in the state of being the version of myself that gets to have what I want. That to me is the difference between persistence and insistence. Insistence means I don't have something, but I'm gonna keep trying to get it over and over again. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna throw everything at the wall. I'm gonna try to control it. I'm gonna manipulate things in the 3D or people in the 3D. I'm going to check these things. I'm going to keep watching manifestation content. I'm going to script for 3 hours until my hand starts cramping up. I'm going to robotically affirm every single second of the day, and I'm gonna beat myself up if I stop affirming for even a second. There's a major difference from somebody who is embodied in that state, who is confident and assured that they are the version of themselves they say they are and they get to have the things that they want, and the version who is constantly trying, fixing, maintaining, straining, doing everything under the sun in order to get a certain outcome. Because in order to get something, it has to be outside of you. You don't already have it, which means you are not recognizing that fundamental thing, that your awareness of being it means it's already yours. So when you are trying to force yourself to think and feel differently, it is like climbing a mountain of resistance with a weighted backpack on. And there's nothing useful in the backpack. The backpack is full of limiting beliefs, old stories, whatever happened in the past, your circumstances. There's nothing useful in there. You don't have granola bars, you don't have a rope, you don't have gloves, you don't have anything that you actually need to climb the mountain. Instead of properly equipping yourself, you just decided, no, I'm doing this because this is gonna make me stronger. So instead of equipping myself properly, I'm just gonna put stones and rocks and things that are going to weigh me down in this backpack, so that through this resistance, through breaking through this resistance or persisting through this resistance, I'm going to get stronger carrying this bag of rocks. When all along, you already had everything that you need. This mountain of resistance is actually a molehill. Okay, you made a mountain out of a molehill and you can just easily step over it. You actually don't need a backpack full of anything. You already have everything you need because you have 2 legs and 2 feet and you can just step over it. So just drop the backpack and step forward. That's what it's like to be climbing this mountain of resistance and insisting on an outcome instead of just persisting and maintaining your decision. It's just staying faithful to your wish fulfilled, as Neville says. It doesn't feel good to affirm that you have something when you're constantly battling yourself and trying to convince yourself that you have something that you know you don't have, or that you are somebody who you know you aren't, or who you feel that you aren't. It's this game of trying to convince yourself, convincing yourself that after I do this, after I reach this point, after I'm this successful, after SP texts me back, after I have this amount of money in my bank account, after people see me this way, after I lose this weight, after people accept me, then I will be who I want. Then I will be allowed to have the things that I have. And the only way for me to get there is to put all my faith or all my strength into this technique. This is the only thing keeping me from spiraling or wavering or feeling like I'm gonna be okay and I'm actually gonna get what I want. It's not reliance on self. Even if it is you who's doing the techniques or going through the motions, doing a manifestation routine or whatever it is, that's not relying fully on self, on all that is, on God within you, your own awareness, your own consciousness. It's still relying on an outside power if you're putting that power fully into techniques and you're beating yourself up to the point where you are constantly worried, constantly wavering. But like we said, you have to get from point A to point B somehow, right? If you are right now feeling like the version of yourself who does not have what you want, somehow, some way, you have to shift into the version of yourself who does have what you want. So if you're starting at a version of yourself who doesn't feel capable of having what you want, you have these limiting beliefs, you have these stories to work through or to overcome or to reprogram in your subconscious mind, whatever. How do you get from being this person to being the person who you want to be? To having the things that you want to have. If you're not going to affirm until you're blue in the face, or even if you want to do that, but you don't want to feel miserable doing it, what do? This is the thing that I wish that I would have known from the get-go. Would have saved me so much time, so much heartache, so much torturing myself and battling back and forth and constantly trying to fix things and worrying about opposite results and circumstances and whatever was going on in the outside tangible world. I wish somebody would have told me to chill the fuck out. Relax. Like I said, there is that option of just continuing to ram yourself over and over again into that brick wall until you finally break through that resistance. It's possible. You can do it. That repetition will eventually get you somewhere, but there is another path that actually feels good and is so much more simple. Just simply chill the fuck out. Now, I understand that a lot of times this is easier said than done. I've been on this journey just like you, and I still have times when there are things that I want and I feel a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of worry, a little bit of like, oh, how are you gonna pull that one off, Aisha? And I have to remind myself, the quickest way that you're gonna get what you want is by chilling the fuck out. Relax. It's okay to relax. It really is. Because every time you've been in that state where it feels like whatever you're trying to manifest is impossible, whatever you want is out of reach and you don't already have it, you have gotten to the point where you are living in the reality where it's just normal, where it's just a fact, where it's just the way that things are. So you've made it from point A to point B before. So even if on the outset it seems difficult, it seems easier said than done, you are capable of doing it. And it starts by literally you making that decision. Making the decision that it is okay for me to relax. It's okay for me to work with myself through this feeling and through this resistance in order to release the resistance so that in this process, I can already feel good and know that when the thing comes, because the thing is coming, I'm certain about that, I can feel good now, I can feel good when I have it, I can feel good in general, just because I decided that I can. So yes, a lot of the times this is easier said than done, especially if you're coming from a place of lack or fear or feeling like you need to control the outcome, especially if you are hyper attached to the past and you don't understand that that past has absolutely nothing to do with what you get to have in the future. You get to decide from this present moment, from the now moment, what gets to happen going forward. But if this is not an awareness that's natural to you yet, if it's not something that you can just remind yourself of and relax into that knowing, that's okay. There's nothing bad about it, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a place you want to stay. Because once you manifest a few things, whether they're big or small or whatever it is, you're gonna wanna manifest more things. And when you begin to understand that manifestation isn't just getting the things you want, it is life. It is life itself, and manifestation is a lifestyle in itself. So you want to cultivate that sense of well-being so that moving forward, you don't have so much trouble bumping into resistance and trying to fight your way and claw your way through these negative emotions and opposing thoughts and what's happening in the 3D every single time. You're not constantly having to fight yourself or relying on techniques. You can just simply trust your awareness and relax into that knowing. But if you're not yet in that state, it's okay. It's natural. It's your body trying to prevent something bad from happening. It's trying to keep you safe. It's just an automatic mechanism, and it's just running off of past programming. That's okay, and it's a good thing that you've become aware of it. Even when you think about getting triggered by things that are happening in the 3D, you don't have to see that as a bad thing. You can understand that just because it's happening and just because it doesn't feel good, I don't have to make it mean that. I can say, thank you for making me aware that this is something in my story, something in my belief system that is no longer serving me. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to be attached to this anymore. So I can choose to let it go, and I will do whatever I need to do. I will do it by whatever means possible. but I am going to let this go so that I can allow myself to embody the state that I actually want to be in, so I can have the things that I actually want. So don't make it a bad thing. Don't say that it's going to be hard. Even if it feels hard, even if it feels easier said than done, you are capable of doing it, and it starts with you making that decision. Decide that no matter what, you are going to do it, and you're not going to let it be hard, and you're not going to let it be a battle. It is something that you are capable of overcoming, and you can even think about it as not something to overcome, but just something to recognize and something to release, something to let go. There's nothing wrong with that intention to move past those negative emotions or transmute them, or be in a state where it's not so prominent, where you're not always worried, where you're not always doubting, where you can just relax and receive. But most of the time, trying to just blast through it with sheer willpower is not the most effective way to go about it. It's just not. It doesn't feel very good. It's not very fun, and I just would advise against it. I'm telling you, there is another way if you're open to seeing things that way. And if you don't feel like you're there yet, then maybe you just need to get a little bit more sick and tired of constantly battling with yourself and with your thoughts and what's happening for you in your life. And then you'll get to a point where you will just give up, and that will be your release. But hopefully by you gaining this information, by sitting here and taking this in, you will save yourself the trouble and the drama of having to have that whole psychological experience of suffering. Not fun. A systematic approach doesn't necessarily equal security. Just because one person or even a lot of people say that one method works, or you have to do it this way, or this is a surefire way to get it to work every single time, doesn't mean anything. Because everybody is operating on their own belief systems. So whatever you believe to be true about you, about how life works for you, about how manifestation works for you, is going to be true for you in your reality. So you need to contend with yourself first and let all of the chatter, the mental chatter, the peanut gallery just fall to the wayside. That security that you're looking for in methods, or trying to predict the outcome, or manipulating circumstances or things that are happening in the 3D, especially if you're going beyond techniques and you're relying on something like a psychic or tarot or any of these other tools, astrology even, is something that you're not realizing is actually already inside of you. And if you're new and I haven't made it clear enough for you, please understand that I don't think that there's anything wrong with techniques. I encourage you to use techniques. There are tools that are there for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with techniques, even if you're into astrology, even if you're into tarot, even if you listen to psychics. It's neither here nor there. I don't care. You can do what you want. My thing is, you have to understand that everything happening in the outside reality, if you're using some kind of divination, or if you're using a tool or a method in order to assist you on whatever you're manifesting, it's a tool. And it can only give you what you put into it. It can only show you back reflections of what's happening inside of you. So if you get a tarot reading and somebody's telling you that, oh, your SP is never gonna come back, they've already found somebody else and they've already started a family with them and they're moving to the other side of the world, then just give up. Just give up, because it's toxic and it's not for you. And you don't like what you're hearing from that person, then it's not something that you can blame on them or that divination. Now, I'm not saying to blame yourself, but I'm saying to understand that it can only be reflecting what is happening within you. So it's not something that is deciding anything for you. It's not something that is concrete or solid. And even if you hear something that you don't like, or even if you're using a technique and you're getting feedback from the 3D that you don't like, understand that in any moment, it's changeable. You can always choose again. You can always choose to shift, to see things differently, to give it a new meaning, to return to self. Return to the understanding that it is your conscious awareness, it is your own human imagination that is creating these circumstances in your life. So there is no cause outside of you. That's the pearl of great price. You have to release your beliefs in all external sources, all external powers other than yourself and your own human imagination. When you release all other beliefs, you will come to the one true belief, which is, I am that I am. I am is God. Your human imagination is God. And once you understand that, and that there's no power outside of you, no source outside of you, there really won't be much of a need. It can be a fun thing. It can be a thing to like see where you're at, get like a temperature gauge on what's going on. If you feel like you like that or you need that, whatever. But it's never something that you should be reliant on. The only thing that you should be reliant on is you. Okay, so that's what I was saying. That security that you're looking for in a technique or some form of divination or somebody outside of you to tell you something or a circumstance outside of you to prove something to you or seeing signs, that's something that's already inside of you. That security can be found within, and it should be found within first and foremost, and everything outside of that can just be a representation, can just be like an acknowledgement, a nod, a recognition of what's already happening inside of you. When you relax into that understanding, when you just allow yourself to chill out, when you don't feel like there's something that you have to do, you signal to infinite intelligence or God or universe that you're ready, that you're open, that you're receptive, that there's nothing that you're lacking, there's nothing that you need. And some people have a misconception that when you're doing that, because it's similar to letting go, right? It's pretty much the concept of letting go, when you can relax into that state and just be like, you know what? I'm good where I am. I'm good in the present moment. Some people think that letting go means that you're not going to get what you want. If you take your attention off of it, then you're not going to get what you want. And I'm not saying that you have to take your attention off of the desire. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take your attention off the desire. It really doesn't matter. I'm saying that when you are in that relaxed state, when you are content, when you are in a state of acceptance of what is happening currently in your present moment, you are signaling that you are open. There is nothing that you are lacking. You are in a correct state to allow the things that are aligned with that state of having everything you want flow to you. So that doesn't mean that if you're in a state of not wanting anything that you're not going to get anything. First of all, it's missing the point to be doing this to get something. The point is that you already have it. Recognize that you already have it within you, and then there will be nothing to get. And everything that you wanted to get will be something that you already have. And the bridge of incidents will naturally unfold so that you can be in the reality where all of that is true tangibly in your reality and the evidence is shown to you. Being relaxed and having a little bit more of a hands-off approach to your manifestation, not needing to always have your fingers in the pie, shows that you have a core belief and an understanding that you are always taken care of and that things are always working out for you. When you are able to relax, it shows confidence, it shows security, it shows certainty and conviction that when I make a decision, when I decide to have something, that is what it is. There's no opposition to me in my reality because I am the source of everything that I see and experience. So when you are relaxed, when you're able to be content with the present moment, regardless of the circumstances or what you have or what you seemingly don't, from the 3D perspective, your desires can go ahead and flow into you easily. Because you're open, because you're not hitting up into all this resistance. Because if you have a wall of resistance up, how do you think your desires are getting through that wall to get to you? Do you expect your desires to start trying to bang down that wall? As much as you deserve your desires, and it is your birthright to have them, and as much as your desires want you, as much as you want them, it cannot be forced upon you because you have free will. You have to stick your hand out first. It can't be shoved into your arms. So that is the signal. When you are in the state of the wish fulfilled, you already have the awareness of being the version of yourself that you want to be, and you understand that your conscious choice is the only thing that is ever required. That's all it takes to get what you want. When you assume yourself to be the version of yourself that you want to be, having the things that you want to have, your manifestation is certain. It is secure. That's how you get that security, that certainty. When you relax into that understanding of it truly does get to be the way that I decide it to be. Nobody else outside of me can decide for me. The only way that could be true is if I was giving my power to an outside source. And in order for them to have that power over me, I have to give it away. And even then, it's still not really theirs. I'm letting them borrow it and then pretending that something is happening to me, that I'm the victim of this circumstance, that there is something that I have to do in order to fix this or solve this problem or make something happen. It's a game, a mental fallacy that you're playing with yourself, and it's silly. It is silly. So that's what conviction is. When you are certain about the outcome, when you know what's going to happen, when you are sure, you know that there's nothing to do, there's nothing to make happen, there's nothing to worry about. Everything that you have ever needed for the fulfillment of your desire, to get what you want, you already have it. And that is the perfect state for effortless manifestation every single time. If you're looking for that security in some systematic approach, saying this thing works 100% of the time for every single person, you're not going to find it. But what you are going to find in every single person, consistent with every single person, consistent with every single success story, is that they chose. They decided that they were the operant power in their reality, that there was nothing outside of them that was gonna sway them from that conviction of knowing that they get to have what they say they have, of knowing that things get to work out for them how they say that they get to work out. And even if it's not that initial awareness, just going about it at all proves that you have a level of trust, a level of faith in the process, in the law, in already having your outcome. You understand that by doing what you're doing, you are making a conscious choice to begin to be the person that you want to be, to become familiar with that state, to saturate yourself in that state until it is hardened into fact, until it is something true in your reality, because you could already see it in your imagination. Knowing that you already have it in your imagination should be your only confirmation. That's what gives you that effortless manifestation. That's what allows you to be hands-off. That's what allows you to relax. So, Aisha, that sounds great, but how? How do I relax? How do I relax if I have a history of being this person, of not ever getting what I want, of being scared, of being in fear, of being in lack? I've never had this experience before. How am I supposed to relax? There's nothing to relax about. Do you see what's happening in my 3D? Do you see what my SP just said to me? Do you see this bill that just came in? What am I supposed to do? Now, for me, a huge part was just actually reading the text myself, actually hearing from the source, from the horse's mouth, how manifestation works, what God really is, how reality creation and conscious manifestation actually works, like what the actual mechanism for that is, and putting it into practice. Letting it be my lived experience and just going for it, taking it for granted and actually observing the things that were happening in my reality. And even before I was getting positive results or seeing the things that I wanted to see, I could already recognize how the negative thoughts that I was thinking were converting into negative experiences in my reality, of not having the things that I wanted, of things not working out favorably, of just a steaming pile of shit. Okay, but aside from that, while you build your relationship with the technical aspects of the law, if you will, the more complicated things, there are things that you can do right now in the physical reality in order to allow you to relax. Because a lot of this is because you have an unregulated nervous system. Now, this is something that I also scoffed at for a long time. Didn't want to look at it or didn't want to acknowledge it because I was actually the queen of the unregulated nervous system. And I just didn't want any parts of it. I was just like, yeah, no, that's not a thing that's happening. And for some people, that works. Just bypass it, just continue to remind yourself that you are who you are, continue making your choice, continue to affirm, just persist in it. Yeah. For me, it would work sometimes, and other times I'm like, oh no, I am ridiculously anxious. I'm having a panic attack. I am so worried. I am so scared, whether there was a real perceived threat or not. Sometimes my body was just like, hey, it's time to freak out. You know that song? Freak out. Yeah, that was me, just all the time for no reason. That's not fun. It's not a good time. I realized that, hey, I should probably do something about this. Because if you have an unregulated nervous system, all that means is that your body is constantly in survival. You are constantly in fight or flight mode, which means that there is some perceived threat. And usually it's some perceived threat of what is going to happen in the future, or you using past context to create some scenario that you believe is going to be repeated in the future. So again, it's a defense mechanism. There's nothing wrong with you. It's what your body is built to do to keep you safe. But if it's just going off, alarms are blaring 24/7 and there's actually no perceived threat, actually nothing is happening to you, you are not getting chased by a bear, like nobody is trying to harm you, it's just internally inflicted pain and you are constantly in this cycle of fear and worry and wondering what's going to happen next, that is an unregulated nervous system. You shouldn't feel like that all the time. It is a state of lack, or you perceive there to be some lack, a lack of safety or a lack of security. But ultimately, that is abundance. I don't believe that lack exists, like ever at all, because even in those states where you are feeling lack, what is that actually? It's an abundance of something. Start thinking of things in this way. If I'm feeling a lack of something, what is it actually the abundance of? Try to find the abundance in it anyway. If you're feeling like you lack security, that is actually an abundance of instability, an abundance of fear, an abundance of worry. You have something. It's not actually that you're missing something. It's that you have too much of something that you don't want and something that's actually not yours to keep and hold on to. It's not impossible to manifest from these states. If there is something that is actually urgent, there's something that is genuinely not good that's happening, some unfavorable circumstance, and you need an immediate fix, an immediate solution, you can manifest in spite of these feelings and these emotions. Is it something that I think you should be doing all the time? No, because again, it indicates a larger issue. But in order to get sustainable and truly fulfilling results, you want to feel good. You want to feel like you have what you want, and you want to feel good about having what you want. All of these things are a recipe for effortless manifestation. Relaxation, feeling good, feeling like you have what you want, and feeling good about having what you want. What are all of those things put together? Fulfillment. I don't entertain arguments about why you don't need to feel good in order to manifest. Because I never said that you need to do anything in order to manifest. You never have to do anything, and you never have to listen to me. I say this also all the time. You don't have to listen to me if you don't want to. And if you don't want to listen to me, then I prefer you didn't, because I'm not the boss of you. But I believe personally that you deserve to feel good and have what you want. You deserve to feel good having what you want. I don't want you to live a life where you get what you want despite not feeling good. When I know that you can feel good and have what you want at the same time, you can choose to feel good no matter what, just because that's your choice. And that doesn't have to be dependent on anything outside of you. And I think that that is a lesson well learned. It was for me. And I think that a lot of people are so highly attached to that old story and this idea that letting go of these feelings of lack or feelings of instability or worry or these levels of control that they have in the manifestation process means that they are not getting what they want, that they don't actually have control, when actually releasing and relaxing is the ultimate form of control. It's the ultimate flex. When you have full confidence, full conviction that you just get to have what you want and you just relax. You're just like, yeah, it is what it is. I fully accept everything that's going on and I know that I'm getting what I want no matter what. Because who else is going to decide outside of me? Who's going to say I can't have it? I already chose. So what would I be freaking out about? What is there to worry about when I get to choose? I can put my awareness wherever I want to. I don't have to make anyone do anything. I don't have to change anything that's happening on the outside. I don't have to change anything about me in order to be worthy of having what I want. I just get to choose it. To me, making you aware, if you weren't already, that that state is available to you is the most important thing. So no, I'm not gonna sit here and argue whether or not you have to feel good to have what you want. I just think it's something beneficial for you and that you deserve that. And if you don't think that you deserve to feel good, then I'm concerned. So let's also talk about the emotional scale while we're at it. I know it's law of attraction-y, but it's a good tool. That's why I say I don't like to put myself in a category, but yes, we are mostly speaking about law of assumption things, but there is still value in law of attraction. I just think that the way that some people interpret it is limiting in a lot of ways. We don't really want to deal with all that over here. But I do think that this is a great tool to use, the emotional scale, just to get a visual and to get an understanding of how you can move through these emotions and how you can release and relax and allow yourself to more easily embody the state that you desire. If this is the emotional scale and all the way on the bottom is hopelessness, despair, anguish, just all the way bottom of the barrel. And up here is gratitude, joy, oneness, exhilaration, whatever is all the way at the top of the emotional scale. I don't actually know. But the highest feeling emotion that you could possibly feel and the lowest feeling emotion. If you are all the way down here, please don't think that you need to jump all the way up here in order to get what you want, or think that if you can't do that, that it means that something is wrong with you, you're doing something wrong, or that you're not gonna get what you want. That's silly. Don't feel like you're stuck just because you're currently at despair. You're currently feeling hopeless about your situation and you can't immediately jump to gratitude. Because some people will say, and I've probably also even said, because I do think that it's a good practice and that everyone should do it, take time to be grateful for the things that you do have. There's something that you can be grateful for. If you can't find something to be grateful for, look harder. Because especially if you're listening to this, you're alive, your eyes and or ears work, you have access to the internet, you have something to watch this on, like that's enough to be grateful about. The fact that you could just breathe in and breathe out and you didn't even have to put any conscious effort into that is something to be grateful for. The fact that your heart is beating without your intervention is something to be grateful for. You can always find something. But I don't personally think that it's reasonable to expect yourself to go all the way from the bottom all the way to the top of the totem pole. You can attempt it if you want, because it's possible. Doing that, making that jump up the emotional scale would be like making a quantum leap. Possible? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely not. You don't have to. If you don't feel like it's available for you right now, give yourself some grace. Take it slow. It's okay to find the next best feeling emotion. Whether it's anger, whether it's neutrality, whether it's hope, you can climb yourself up step by step and just a little bit at a time. And it doesn't have to take a long time, but once you see that you can make those incremental steps and that you can release bit by bit and that it is working and that it's getting better and better, you give yourself the positive momentum to keep going. And if you can at least get to a neutral state, then you give yourself that opportunity to relax. That's all you need, is to get to neutral. Acceptance. And again, remember, acceptance doesn't mean that I accept whatever circumstances are happening and I like them and I want more of them, but to accept their right to exist, the right that they have to being a possibility, just like all the other possibilities get to exist, is enough. And it's okay, and it doesn't mean that you're not getting what you want by accepting the circumstances. You don't have to accept the circumstances as a real, true reality for you, but just accept that you are where you are, that the present moment is the present moment, and that through the present moment is the only way that you are ever going to shift into where you actually want to be. You have to accept where you are first. Accept being who you are, accept your own power, accept your ability to decide, relax, and then go in again, and then choose who you want to be from there. from that blank slate. Because if you're trying to decide something new and then you're lugging that backpack, you're lugging all the drama and the trauma from the past, you're not going to get very far. Or if you get to where you're going, it's not going to feel very good, because you're not fully fulfilled, because you aren't in the state of being that correlates to the reality where you get to feel good and have what you want. You just have what you want, but you don't necessarily feel good about it. Remember, you get to feel good, you get to have what you want, and you get to feel good about having what you want. So if you can get to neutral, you can relax. And if you can relax, then you open that door for hope, for gratitude, for positive expectation of what's to come. There are so many tools that you can use to shift your emotional state. Most commonly, obviously, is your thoughts. Affirming, but it's the same thing as with the emotional scale. You do not have to jump from unworthiness and lack and I never get what I want to everything is perfect and I always have what I want. Sometimes that's not a reasonable thing to ask of yourself, and that can also lead to a lot of resistance compounding on top of each other when you're asking all of this out of yourself and it's something that you just aren't necessarily in alignment with yet. That's okay. It might actually be the quicker route and the path of least resistance to work yourself up incrementally rather than to just keep pounding at that and keep running into that resistance over and over again until you break through it. All the time you spend doing that out of a not so great state, you could have spent that time actually shifting your state and then have 1 degree shift that allows you to have everything you want. And even though it seems like going step by step might take longer and might be delaying the process, it could actually be the path that is most beneficial for you. Using affirmations that are not a good fit for your current situation is just going to lead to more resistance. It really is. And I think that a lot of people also have issues with feeling like there are only certain words that they could say, there are only certain tenses that they can affirm in, and they run into all of these roadblocks when they're trying to affirm because they don't know what to say. And when they're told what to say, which is jumping all the way to the end, it might be bringing up even more resistance. It's okay to work your way up to I already have it and build that positive expectation along the way so that you actually have some groundwork and some foundation and some faith and conviction behind what you're saying, and you trust yourself. You build that trust with yourself all along the process. So use affirmations that actually relax your emotional body. Like, I'm open to seeing things differently. I accept that it's possible for things to get better for me. Even though blank is happening, I'm choosing to see things the way that I want to see them. Every day in every way, things are getting better and better for me. Every day I'm seeing more and more of what I want to see. Also, using general affirmations, if you're affirming for something specific and focusing on that specific thing is bringing up resistance, it is okay to affirm generally, especially things about your self-concept or your ability as a manifester. And just building your faith with the law. Putting your focus on that, on more general things with your affirmations, is not detracting from you actually getting the specific thing you want. Do the things that actually cause a measurable shift in your emotional state so that you can lower the resistance, so that you can relax, and so you can get what you want a lot more easily. Aside from using your thoughts to lessen your resistance, there are other tools that you can use. I'm gonna plug Aura again at this point in time because I know that a lot of people have resistance to meditation. When I first started meditating years ago, it wasn't that fun. Also because I was under the impression, I went into my spiritual journey with a lot of false impressions that I'm here to try to save you the time and effort of going through the things that I did. Meditation does not have to be miserable. And meditation is a tool that can help you greatly loosen your resistance or fully release your resistance. It doesn't mean that you just have to sit with your hands like this and crisscross and om or just be completely silent. I think a lot of people think that the goal of meditation is to have absolutely no thoughts. Now, in some meditative practices, that could be the goal, but it's not necessary for getting where you want to go. This is why apps like Aura are so helpful, because you can put on a guided meditation, you can lay in your bed, you can go for a walk if you don't want to sit still, or you can do it during a workout or yoga or while you're walking on the treadmill or whatever it is that you're doing. Put on a guided meditation and allow it to bring you back into the present moment so that you're not focusing on what happened in the past, you're not ruminating on what's going to happen in the future and building all these false scenarios in your head and putting your attention on those possibilities that you actually don't want to manifest, but you are focusing on them. So of course, those are the possibilities that are going to manifest. The sure way to neutralize the possibility of those possibilities manifesting is to bring yourself back into the present moment. You don't have to get rid of all your thoughts, but you can come into a state where you are able to accept where you are, to feel that stability coming from within yourself, to understand that everything that you need, all those tools are already within you. So put on a guided meditation. Literally, if you can take 3 to 5 minutes even to put on a guided meditation and just allow yourself, and don't even have any expectations for what's gonna happen or that you need to feel a certain way or that you need to feel any crazy shifts. just put your headphones on, decide that you're gonna sit there for the amount of time and you're just gonna listen. Just close your eyes and listen. Or you're gonna go to the gym anyway, you're gonna walk on the Stairmaster anyway. Just put something on that is actually making that measurable difference. Because again, you could go about it by just affirming during that time, or by daydreaming or visualizing during that time. But if you're doing it in a way that is not actually lessening that resistance, and it's actually not causing you to feel good, and you don't feel like it's being helpful, then maybe just bringing yourself back to your core awareness, to even just that state of neutrality, is going to be a lot more helpful for you in the long run. Then when you do choose to take your focus back to those specific things and to having your desires, you're going to be a lot more ready to embody that state. It's going to feel a lot more effortless. You're going to feel like you can just soak right into it because you've made space, because you don't have to shove those desired thoughts in and try to find little cracks in between your resistance to put in the things that you actually want. Just clear some space by clearing some mental space, clear some space in your mind. So meditation is a great tool. I use Aura for that. They have great meditations on there. Just search up whatever it is that you're looking for. They even have like specific meditations if you're trying to release anxiety, release stress, focus on positivity, release blockages, limiting beliefs. Search it up. There is something for everybody, and you can literally sort it by length, whatever you have time for, whatever you feel available for, and get after it. Along with that, there's also breath work. Breath work is something that I have found so extremely helpful, and they also have plenty of breath work on Aura. This is so important to me because I don't know if you've seen my video on anxiety. If you haven't, I'll link it for you somewhere up there. But I used to struggle with debilitating anxiety, horrible anxiety, horrible panic attacks, like on the regular, like on a daily basis. And a lot of times for literally no reason, just no reason. Obviously there were underlying spiritual causes, but it would feel like it was triggered by nothing, just like my own existence was triggering. What I found was that 9 times out of 10, I was not breathing. Like I was literally like holding my breath, or I was taking very shallow breaths. Because when you have anxiety, you feel like tightness in your chest, you feel like very compressed, you feel like it's a claustrophobic feeling, and it's very easy to forget to breathe, which is something that is so simple and happens automatically. But breath work is something that can really help with that. Just even being more aware of your breath, choosing to breathe consciously, even if you don't want to put on a guided breath work, just taking a moment to take 3 deep breaths in and out is enough to significantly shift your state. But just deep belly breathing, putting your hands on your belly, filling up your diaphragm and releasing it, like just being conscious with your breath. There's box breathing, like breathing in for 4, holding it for 4, releasing for 4, holding it at the bottom for 4, over and over again until you feel like you're in a better state. There's alternate nostril breathing. There's literally so many different breathwork techniques where you plug one nostril, breathe in, plug the other one, let it out the other nostril. All these, there are guided meditations that you can find for all of these things, or guided breathwork practices that you can find for all of these things, because obviously I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them extensively today. But there's another one that I found that has scientific research to back it up that will quickly release your anxiety. I heard this one from Andrew Huberman, taking in a deep breath almost all the way to the top, and then breathing in even more until you literally can't take in any more breath, and then letting it all out. So it's kind of like that 3 times. Try it 3 times, especially if you're feeling like genuine panic in the present moment. Try that 3 times and see if your state does not significantly change. I love that one. I just have so many because I'm telling you, I've been through this, been through those anxious states and having panic attacks and all that stuff. And breath work is something that can calm your nervous system so well. It's such a good practice to do. Obviously, I'm no expert. I'm not the best person to explain it to you, but I know that all of these tools are available. You can find them on YouTube, or if you'd like to use Aura, get a free trial, try it, see how you like it. I believe that it's very helpful. It surely has been extremely helpful for me. The last one, you can also find this on Aura, is EFT tapping. If you haven't heard of EFT, it's emotional freedom technique, and it's basically like acupuncture without the needles. It's tapping on your energetic meridians and at the same time going through some kind of script, some calming affirmations. So usually you'll start right here. A lot of people call this the karate chop point. So you'll start tapping right here and you'll say something like, even though I'm really anxious right now, or even though I'm really worried about how my desire is going to manifest, I fully and completely love and accept myself. So even though I'm feeling blank, negative emotion, limiting belief, opposing circumstances happening, I fully love and accept myself. And then after that, you'll start tapping bop, 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 on top of your lip, right here, on your collarbone, underneath your armpit, on top of your head, and you'll keep saying whatever the script is. You can follow your own script, or you can find one on Aura or on YouTube if you're unfamiliar with this practice. But a couple rounds of this, the same thing as with meditation, 3 to 5 minutes is all it takes to see a significant shift in your emotional state. And then if you want to go back to affirming or doing whatever technique you're using to saturate yourself, whatever imaginal act you're using, or if you just want to go on about your business, you are going to feel so much better doing so. If I'm doing EFT, I like to rate my level of resistance before I start from a scale of 1 to 10. And afterwards, I'll rate it again. And I will do another round if I need to until I rate my resistance at a 1 or at a 0. Usually it only takes a couple times. Sometimes it might take a little bit more, depending on what the situation is and what's going on with you. But it's a great tool. I found it extremely helpful, and I do highly recommend. I just want you to remember and know, especially if you're new, you're just becoming familiar with conscious manifestation, that all of these tools are here and they're available for you to help you. But really, it's about you. And if you're feeling sad, you're focusing on what's happening in the past. And if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling fearful, if you're worried, you're focusing on what negative possibilities might manifest in the future. The most important thing that you can do is return to the present moment and relax into the present moment, because understand that anything that you manifest can only ever come from this now present moment. You have to become the version of yourself that you want to be now. The past is already gone. The future is already determined. Those possibilities already exist. So it's only up to you to choose right now which one of those future realities you want to occupy. Which possibility are you going to collapse in the quantum field? You get to do it. I know that it sounds a little bit like, am I really capable of doing this? But again, think about how you do it in the negative all the time. If you're in this high state of resistance and you're relying heavily on techniques or some power outside of you, do a little observation. Understand how you got to where you are now and reverse engineer it. And use these tools that are here and totally available to you to get you back in that state of at least neutrality or acceptance, so that you can go back in with that conviction, with feeling like the bad bitch that you are, with feeling like the operant power, and like there is no source outside of you, no cause outside of you, and you get to decide. Reality is yours for the taking. You get to pick, you get to choose. And I want you to know that things get to come so much more easily to you if you will chill out. Just relax. It's okay if you're working through emotions that don't feel so good right now, but you are allowed to feel good, to have what you want, and to feel good about having what you want. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for me today. I intend this message serves you well, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. If you're interested in working with me or checking out any of my other platforms, all that information can be found in the description box below, or you can check my website at morebeing.co. And other than that, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.